Hello once again, everyone. So this is going to be part one of a little series on this messer cutting pattern that I've devised. And essentially all this is this is meant to be simple actions that this cutting pattern is meant to remind you of. In particular, not necessarily sticking in with some of our thrusts and using more deflective style cuts. So first let's just go over the pattern by itself. If you want to just follow along, just match up with me. So this will be, we'll start off in Lugisland, and we're going to do a passing step forward with an over. As soon as that over is done, we're going to turn over, kind of into Stier, not actually worrying about being above our head, but just from there letting our tip present. You're going to thrust out. As soon as that thrust is done, you're going to turn straight into a Mittelhau with a triangle step. So here's that again. I cut, thrust, cut. And you want this thrust to be nice and extended. Don't worry about sticking in it. Worry about just cutting, putting that point toward their face, and after that has finished, pull it back to you and step away from your next cut. So here that is facing the camera. Cut, thrust, cut. And again, cut, thrust, cut. Now do it facing this way. Take the righty. Cut, thrust, cut. Cut, thrust, cut. Good. Now we'll build on it. So after our first Mittel, we're going to turn those hands over, and you can do this either in place or we're stepping backward. We're going to go into two unters. So unter number one, unter number two. You want to keep these relatively tight to you. So cut, thrust, cut, unter one, unter two. Is that facing this way? Over, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter. Facing this way now. Over, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter. Now, then we'll build onto it again. Now the idea is, we finish that second unter, going to turn over and do another triangle step as we fire another Mittel. And as soon as this one is done, we'll once again curve in for that same thrust from our left Stier. So, over, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter, Mittel, thrust. As soon as that thrust is done, you're going to turn over and let it also turn into another Ober from the left with a passing step forward. So again, Ober, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter, Mittel, thrust, Ober. Just letting your body turn as you go. Again, Ober, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter, Mittel, thrust, Ober. Again. Over, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter, Mittel, thrust, over. Now finally, last part we're going to tack into it. After that over is done, either when you swing through, bring it up high into the arm tan, or alternatively you can stop it out and grab from there. But regardless, we end up left foot forward, put our hand on the blade, fire one quick thrust with a small advance, and come back. And again, just nice and jabby. So, like our thruster on this side, I'm just going to boom back. Same thing here, boom back. Just a nice little quick grab. So here it is, facing the camera. Over, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter, Mittel, thrust, over, thrust. Just back to guard. Facing this way. Over, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter, Mittel, thrust, over, thrust. And then once this way. Over, thrust, Mittel, unter, unter, Mittel, thrust, over, thrust, down. Fun little pattern, mixes things up a bit. I'm going to take this, and in part two, I'm going to talk about those little actions, why I'm doing them this cutting pattern, and how these devices can be useful to you. So, otherwise though, thank you very, very much for watching. We'll go over some other techniques another time.